Hey everyone! So this feels crazy to say, but this is officially my first ever vlog. And not just that, it's also my first ever trip to Europe. This has been my dream for years. Honestly, since I became aware enough to dream about exploring the world on my own. It's been a journey, especially last month, from emptying my very first apartment as a tenant to going through all of life's ups and downs. But finally, I took the courage to stop waiting for the perfect moment and just go for it. And no, this trip won't be like those luxury influencer ones. This is going to be a real, relatable, and budget friendly experience. The kind of trip most of us can actually do. If you enjoy this kind of honest travel content, please support my channel, like, subscribe, and help me grow. Okay, emotional part done. Now let's get into the fun part. So, we took our flight to Rome with a layover in Calgary from Edmonton. Now, fun fact, my husband's favorite thing to do at airport is eat, while my favorite thing is just being there, soaking in the airport vibes, watching people rushing around with excitement and imagining where everyone's going. Since I'm a vegetarian, food can sometimes be a struggle, but I managed to find some nachos, so win for me. While waiting, we realized the brand new charging cable my partner bought isn't working, and his headphones washed in the machine a day before takeoff. So, of course, he ended up buying new headphones, which he barely ever used during the trip. Because the trip itself is interesting and headphones were not really needed. Later, we realized a working charging cable would have been way more useful. So, here's a little traveler tip: always carry a backpack charger or cable, especially in Europe, where you will be out exploring all day and away from outlets. And if you have any recommendations for wireless or travel friendly chargers, please drop them in the comments. I would love to know for our next trip in future. And thank you in advance. As the plane started descending into Italy, I was amazed. The view was full of lush greenery and these adorable mushroom topped trees. I had never seen anything like them before. I was honestly as excited as a kid seeing something new for the first time. After landing, we headed straight to collect our luggage. No time to waste. We wanted to reach our Airbnb quickly so we could start exploring Rome. Or should I say Roma? Buying train tickets to our Airbnb from the airport was actually pretty easy. And while we were there, we met a lovely couple from Canada, originally from Pakistan, and we helped them figure out the ticket machine. It felt nice to be able to help someone, especially on our first day abroad, even though inside we were a little worried to miss our train. We did get a little lost trying to find our platform, or as they call it in Italian, binario. That's your Italian word of the day, binario. Eventually, we found it, hopped on our train, and even met a few people, some from Saskatchewan, Canada, and a couple from Texas heading on a 10-day Mediterranean cruise. So we came down from those stairs. After a smooth ride, we got off right in front of our stop. Super convenient. Finding our Airbnb took a bit of effort, as it usually does when you are jet lagged and navigating new streets, but we made it. The elevator was tiny, honestly, so cute. That's part of the charm of Europe. Things are smaller, cozier, and full of character. And our host was kind enough to let us check in early, which was amazing because we didn't have to wait outside with our luggage. Here's our little room in Rome. Small but perfect for a few days, with both a bus stop and train station right outside the main door. While my husband went to take a shower, I grabbed my camera to record the room, trying to act like a real vlogger for the first time. The view outside was beautiful. Again, those mushroom top trees. To have just a window view of trees and gardens.
It's my best right now. That's me. Sit in here. That's the view of the garden.
And then, surprise! I was ready as fast as my husband, which never happens. We started our evening adventure by taking a bus to the Pantheon. As we rode through the city, the European charm started to hit us. The streets, the buildings, the atmosphere, everything felt magical. When we reached our stop, just a short walk away, we could already see the massive pillars of the Pantheon coming into view. The stone plaza, the fountain in front, people sitting around chatting and taking in the moment. It was just beautiful. And that's how our first day in Europe and my first vlog began. So, after trying our best to take a few good pictures, which trust me isn't easy when you're surrounded by hundreds of travelers doing the exact same thing, we slowly started moving in search of a good place to eat. Our plan was simple: walk a block or two away from the Pantheon and hopefully find a less touristy, more affordable restaurant. But who knew? In Rome, every corner is touristy. Every street, every little alley filled with restaurants, souvenir shops, and happy travelers like us soaking in the Roman magic. As we wandered through the narrow, beautiful streets lined with warm lights and charming gold buildings, we suddenly stepped into Piazza Novana, one of the highlights of the entire day. Now, if you're like me and from Canada or North America in general, a piazza or square in Italy is kind of like what we call a plaza, an open space surrounded by restaurants, fountains, and people just living life. Except we don't have the fountains in plazas. The whole place had this lively yet peaceful vibe. There were artists painting, people dining under fairy lights, and the sound of a musician playing somewhere in the background. We took more photos here, some of my absolute favorites from this day. The fountain in the center was gorgeous, and the entire square looked like it was out of a painting. And then one of the most magical things happened, something that I will never forget. There was this performer, a guy dancing inside a circle of iron with music playing. It was mesmerizing. For someone like me, it felt almost childlike, the way I was just standing there, smiling, completely lost in the moment. I honestly wished time would stop right there so I could just keep watching. After soaking in all that magic, we continued walking, still on a mission to find a non touristy restaurant. But after a few more blocks and turns, we realized something. There's no such thing as non touristy corner in Rome, at least for us. Eventually, we gave up the search and decided to just sit down and eat at one of the restaurants right there in the square. And honestly, I'm glad we did because this turned out to be one of the best meals of our entire trip. Meanwhile, my partner went for a chicken pasta, and of course, we had to make it official. Our first Aperol spritz, a beer, and Italian pasta, all together right here in Rome. Here's to new beginnings, to courage, to dreams finally coming true, and to Rome. We sat there for a while, watching people pass by, hearing bits of conversations in different languages, and just soaking in that first night in Europe feeling. It's hard to describe, a mix of excitement, disbelief, and gratitude all at once. And then it was time to head towards Trastevere, hoping to find another lively musical corner of Rome to wrap up our first night here. Soon after, we crossed the river and stumbled upon our very first gelato place in Rome. And oh my gosh, it was delicious. I got strawberry and pistachio, and from that moment on, pistachio became a permanent flavor for the rest of the trip. The second scoop, always changing, but the first, always pistachio. And it tasted like koa, if anyone is familiar with that word. We walked our way into Trastevere Square, where we found a cozy spot near the fountain to sit and take it all in. We weren't sure if we had missed the lively hour of street performances, but honestly, after a full day of flying, exploring, and feeling all the emotions, we were just happy to be there. And yes, these church bells in Europe. The streets around us looked straight out of a movie. Warm lights, people laughing, cobblestone paths, and that classic Italian charm everywhere. By then, my feet were screaming for rest, and so does my partner's. And we knew it was time to head back on foot to our Airbnb and finally call it a night. So that's how our very first night in Rome came to an end with good food, gelato, laughter, and a heart full of gratitude. Thank you so much for staying with me through my very first vlog. It means a world to me that you're here joining me on this new journey. I'll see you in my next vlog, day 2 in Rome, where we'll explore more of this beautiful city. Ciao!